Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. I did have a technical glitch. Somehow it happened, and we had a black screen, but we are back. And we're going to be discussing much about Mikel Arteta's plans to sign Philippe Coutinho, and also the fact that the manager will be out of action against Manchester City. He has actually been he's tested of COVID-19 for the second time this year. We'll be discussing that, but also a couple of stories that we will be diving into. Bruno Guimarães, as well, Patrick Schick, also linked to Arsenal, and a couple of other guys, other stories. Of course, we know Arsenal do love Bruno Guimarães. In the summer, we tried to go for that deal, and of course, it really failed. Now we are back with that. So we are sponsored by the beautiful people at Melbet. They are saying if you want to and earn some extra income, do bet with them. Make sure you sign up with them. Link is in the video description. Just sign up with them. You could bet on all games. I mean, football, netball, any game that you feel like you understand, you'll be able to earn some money. And of course, use my promo code Cossy to support the channel, and also smash that like button. So let's get to it. Let's start off with Mikel Arteta's claims, not claims, but the confirmation that the manager will not be available for the Manchester City game. Now, this is according to The Guardian. Of course, it has been written by the Arsenal website and a couple of other updates, other blogs. So it is official. It is confirmed. This is what The Guardian have written. They have said Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta sidelined for after testing positive for COVID-19 yet again. The Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta will be absent for his side's New Year's Day clash against Manchester City after testing positive for coronavirus. The Spaniard is now isolating and will be unable to attend the tea time kickoff at the Emirates Stadium, but he is still expected to do press duties before the Premier League game on Thursday. Arteta previously contracted the virus in March 2020, which promoted the shutdown of the English Premier League at the start of the pandemic. His assistants, Albert Steinberg and Steve Round, will be in charge of match day against City. The Gunners will be without a number of players during their without a number of players during their 5-0 win at Norwich City on Boxing Day due to coronavirus, with Callum Chambers, Cedric Soares, Takehiro Tomiyasu, and Ainsley Niles among those infected at the moment. So, it's a big blow. It's a very, very, very big blow to Arsenal and to the team at the moment. Mikel Arteta contracting the virus yet again. This is the second time, like we've read from the Guardian. This is the second time. The first time it was in March. He got it. Luckily enough, the season actually was called off. The season was broken. But now it looks like the season is going to continue, and we do not have a manager. Probably the next two games against Manchester City, who will be out, and maybe the game that we'll play on against Liverpool in the first round. It could be on the 5th of January. That is in the first round of the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Is also going to be out of action. So it's a big blow. First and foremost, we've been in a very, very good run. Then the Wolves game was postponed. Of course, you want to play Wolves. You want to play a very stubborn side like Wolves. Or when you're in fine form. But that game was postponed. Okay, it gave us a little time to rest and prepare for Manchester City. But also now, a couple of players are infected. At Arsenal, around for all our right backs. Actually, Mika was speaking about it. In the last press conference, and he said all the right backs, were out. So we had to play Ben White as an inverted right back, which is actually not that easy. So the big question is, does it affect us greatly? Absolutely, yes, it does. I've seen a couple of people saying it's not going to affect Arsenal really greatly. It is going to affect us so much. Absolutely so much. One, this is a batch of young players. They need their manager around. And this is not a scenario where it's given a yellow card or red card and then is in the stands. This is missing a manager look, there's no way you're gonna do, give instruction in Zoom. There is no way you're gonna give instructions on what on StreamYard or Melon or something like that. So he's completely off. And it's a vital game. It's a big game. It's a game that if we win it, we are piling more pressure on Chelsea and Liverpool, and we are widening that gap between Spurs and Manchester United. At this time, at point in time, you don't need to lose your players. You don't need to lose your manager. So losing to Manchester City, I mean, without a manager on the touchline, it could be 5-0, it could be 6-0, it could be 7-0. It will psychologically affect the team, and I think that is something we don't want at the moment. Spurs are catching up. United are also really, really resting up. Yes, they did sleep, but I expect them at least tomorrow on Thursday as they play Burnley. If they win that game, I mean they're getting closer and closer. So Manchester City, that just makes that that game very hard. It just makes the fixture even harder than we would anticipate. Because I mean, how do you think about it? How do you approach that game without your manager on the touchline? But anyway, there, Mikel Arteta testing, for the second time, and I think my prediction is that the league will take a break, and it's not this kind of break that was proposed. It might actually be called off because look, now Arsenal have lost the manager, and we have around 4 to 5 players affected. And, clubs like Newcastle, games are being called off. Wolves, games are being called off. I mean, it's just creating a lot of disorder. In my opinion, at the moment, it's not because I'm an Arsenal fan and I do not care about other clubs and their players, but I think the better thing to do, call the game off, right? Call the game off. I mean, call the season off for some time, prepare, and then we can see what happens. But anyway, Mikel Arteta, is infected. That means he won't be on the touchline, for us against Manchester City. But that is not the biggest point in this video. So the biggest, the biggest point of this live stream, Mikel Arteta has given a green light to sign Philippe Coutinho. He has agreed with the rest of whoever is concerned to sign Philippe Coutinho. And in January, there are high chances now that it's around 75% that Philippe Coutinho will be signing for Arsenal Football Club. That is the biggest question. I mean, the biggest point of this video. And Bruno Guimarães as well. We're also going to be talking about Bruno Guimarães. So let's start off with Philippe Coutinho, because again he's been making lots of rounds. There's been a lot of talk around Philippe Coutinho and Arsenal and things like that. And yesterday we talked about his agent Kiajo Rapchin flying to London. Look, all of that was like a myth. All of that was like a very, very distant story. But now it is no longer. It's no longer a distant story. It is close. It is as close as the manager has told Adrian and has told whoever is going to be dealing with this transfer that he wants Philippe Coutinho, and he has approved that we should be signing in Philippe Coutinho. So what are your thoughts there, lads, on this story, as you make sure that you hit the like button? Right, so interesting stuff, because this story absolutely just validifies all the stories that we've done around Philippe Coutinho and Arsenal and everything like that. So Coutinho will be joining Arsenal in January. That is our plan. I think we've gone with low budget. We've gone with short term rather than long term, because I mean there is no way Arsenal signing Philippe Coutinho on a long term deal, despite all the facts that he is available and he might actually join us on a free. There is no possibility whatsoever that it's going to sign for Arsenal on a long term. So with Partey going out and Mohamed Elneny and Ainsley also as being very, very close to joining Roma, Philippe Coutinho is going to be coming in as a cover. Is he the better option? Is he the player we should have gone for? Amid talks that Dennis Zakaria has actually told Borussia Mönchengladbach that he won't be signing a new contract. Is this the better deal? Is it the best deal we could do? So Rudy Galletti, this is what Rudy Galletti has actually put out. It said Coutinho in recent days, fast talks between Arsenal and the entourage of the Barcelona player. Arteta has given the green light to the transfer. New contacts are expected between the parties very, very soon. Everton, Leicester City, Newcastle were all interested in the Brazilian too. Right. So that is senior journalist Rudy Galetti confirming that, of course, writes for Calcio Mercato and works for Sky Sport as well, confirming that Arsenal and Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta have approved for Filippo Coutinho to join Arsenal. Look, at first I say this is a deal that won't make a lot of sense because I've already talked about Filippo Coutinho's injury record. I've already talked about the fact that Coutinho, is really inconsistent in the last 2 years. You can't rely on him. But thinking about our budget, thinking about who will sign, how hard it is to sign players in January. Maybe Filippo Coutinho is that, is that easy deal. I mean, I've talked about the likes of Arthur Melo as well. I do not know why Arsenal have not gone for Arthur Melo. I don't know why they have not tried to go for Dennis Zakaria. I do not understand all those. Maybe the likes of Frank Casey. I do not understand, but because we've been linked with all of them, and the endeavor has actually ended up linking us to Filippo Coutinho. So look, I think what Arsenal have done is get a player who you can't be with until the end of the season, and at the end of the season there won't be any obligations for us to sign Filippo Coutinho. I think that is what they're trying to do, because on the same day we have Bruno Guimarães to Arsenal is also back on. So you can see what is actually happening. Bruno Guimarães to Arsenal is back on, and all reports today are indicating that Arsenal are more than willing to pay the 40 million euros to get in Bruno Guimarães at Arsenal Football Club, to land Bruno Guimarães at the carpet. So Guimarães in the summer, Filippo Coutinho in January. Is that a deal that makes sense? Absolutely. Really, really, absolutely. Because look, I said it yesterday. If it's either Coutinho or no one else, then I would go for Filippo Coutinho. Between Coutinho and Jack Wilshere, I think I still go with Filippo Coutinho, because Coutinho has got that kind of game time around him. He's been an active footballer for some time, competing at a very high level. Played for Barcelona around 4 games this season. Played for Bayern Munich. We know he was on loan there at Bayern. So he's been in action. If you brought him at Arsenal, apart from the injuries which they do share as Jack Wilshere, so you really can't say his injury record, so we can't take him at Arsenal. We should take Jack Wilshere, because again Wilshere is also injury prone. So Filippo Coutinho, oh my God, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to lean against the wall. Very difficult one. If you look at the talent of the player, no question, you would all day long, you would take Filippo Coutinho all day long. He's that kind of player that has the flair. He's so beautiful and things like that. But if you assess his career in the last 3-4 years, that is what is scary. Very, very scary. The injuries he's picking up. He never used to pick up such injuries. At Liverpool, I don't know why when he goes to Barcelona, I don't know why his injury record is so it has become more than prone. But he's 29 years of age. That is one thing we've got to think about. 29, I think he still has the energy. He still has the zeal. If we brought him in, again, there's so many things we would get. Because one, we need to get over the line. That is something that is going to be very, very hard for Arsenal. We need to get over the line. There are games that are going to need us to get over the line. Spurs, second round. Manchester United, second round. Chelsea, second round. And of course, a couple of big, those London derbies in the second round, West Ham, Everton. You need players like Filippo Coutinho who know that kind of feeling, who know what it means to go back to the Champions League, that kind of experience. I think we lost it when we lost David Luiz, because I think, again, he was the kind of player that could provide you with that, with that experience, that kind of player that could provide you with that kind of pedigree, talk to the young ones, bring in that kind of, environment, the character that is needed in different environments. We saw it against Manchester United and Everton. We were flat. Our emotions were really, really tampered with, and we lost those two games. Not because we were not good enough, or those clubs were better than us, but I think it's just the time when you need your senior players. It's those games where you need your senior players. So maybe that's what Mikel Arteta is looking at: a player who's played in the Premier League, a player who's 29. Has got the leadership and really equally talented as well. We can't forget that. Coutinho is a massive, massive talent. I can't write him off in terms of being a massive talent. He's a big, big talent, in the world of football. So look, the positives you get with signing Filippo Coutinho, I think one, you're getting in a goal-scoring midfielder, but the question is, do you play him as an attacking midfielder? And then Martin Odegaard drops deeper, to play with Xhaka, which I think would be really, really tampering with Martin Odegaard's form and what he's used to at the moment, because we've seen him is really, really doing very well as a number 10. Do you bring in Filippo Coutinho as a box-to-box? That would be really interesting. That would be very, very, very marvelous. I would love to see Arsenal having a player like Coutinho playing alongside Xhaka or Abusam Lekonga, because, it's taken a long time without us seeing a player like that. And ever since Santi Cazorla, I've not seen a player who can just pick up that ball, in deeper areas and then drive it into the penalty area. I think, Cazorla had that. I think it was more like, another number 10 that played from deeper areas. Coutinho can do that. I think he's got the pace. I think he's got the skill to do that. And, he's really, really confident. He's coming to a league that he really understands. And I think the other positive you would get out of him, like I said, is the experience. But this is a deal that will benefit Barcelona and Coutinho and Kia Joorabchian more than Arsenal. For us, because again, for us, we're just getting in a backup player. We're just getting in someone to do the roles of Thomas Partey when he's away, to expand our squad depth. Anyone could do that. We could bring in Charlie Patino. We could bring in, Arthur Melo. Like I said, we could bring in Zakaria. We could bring in anyone. We could go for anyone, and it would work out. But what Coutinho is gonna get, and I think I won't be surprised if he comes back, in the Premier League, if he comes to Arsenal, and then he becomes a star player. I won't be really, I won't really be, swept off my feet, because one, I think the environment at Barcelona does not allow him to be the player is. I think it's the same thing with Eden Hazard, players like that. Those players that have been in those environments where they are the kings. At Liverpool, he was the king. Whenever you thought about Liverpool, you were going to think about Luis Suarez and then Filippo Coutinho. He literally made everything happen, at Liverpool, during his time. In the midfield, in the final third, he was that phenomenal. He was that good. So I think it's the environment, it's the love, it's not there. He's no longer that king. He's no longer, the king of. Of course, he can't be the king of Barcelona. When he went there, you had Messi there. You had the likes of, Sergi Busquets there. Those players that already made their way into the hands of Barcelona fans. So you didn't expect him to be that that important. But again, if you think about it, if it comes to Arsenal and then we treat him like a hero, I think the heroism is also, is also wanted. I mean, there's some players that just want to be treated as heroes. There's just players that want to be given that special kind of treatment to do their thing. I think Coutinho is one of them. Fabrizio talked about it one day. I think in that summer when we were linked with Filippo Coutinho at the highest. And he said, what Coutinho lacks is a team where you are going to treat him like a king. You're going to love him. You're going to, spread the love. I think that is what is lacking at Barcelona. I mean, when he is on the pitch or he's off the pitch at Barcelona, it doesn't make any sense. And Arsenal, that would be a very, very different story, because, again, he would be one of the most talented players ever to play for Arsenal in probably in the last 10 or 20 years. He would be. part of the part of the most talented players. And at the moment, if he comes in, honestly, we've got to agree. He's been at Liverpool. If you bring him in, Philippe Coutinho, that would be a statement signing, and many fans will be really, really happy with that transfer. So, is it good business for us to go for Philippe Coutinho in the short term, and probably someone like Bruno Guimarães in the long term? I think it is a very, very good deal. Very good deal. Because look, if you do not have a budget, what do? Do you not sign in someone because you do not have a budget, because you are on a budget, because you're working with a limited budget? I don't think so. I think it would be ridiculous if Arsenal just decided we don't have a budget, we want to go for anyone. Let's wait until the summer. It would be really ridiculous. Getting someone, on loan, and then maybe, because I think Coutinho, even if you do not get Renato, because I would really prefer Renato Sanchez to Coutinho, but if you bring in Coutinho, what you would do, you would just sign Jack Wilshere on a 5-month contract. I think that would work. Jack Wilshere on 5 months, and then Philippe Coutinho on 6 months. I mean, and at the end of the season, those are two cards you really discard. There is no need for you to create deadwood. There is no need for you to create problems for yourselves by giving Philippe Coutinho another 2 years on his contract. No, because I think at the moment he's not the player we need. That's definitely. We need a central midfielder. We need a very, very good box to box. Coutinho can do that. I mean, you bring him in as a player who does that, but not really as one that we're gonna be looking at and say he's our CM, for the next 4 years. I do not think, and that takes me to the story of Bruno Guimarães. Now today, Arsenal have been yet again linked with Bruno Guimarães. Lots of stories written around him, but one thing I'm gonna pick there is that the only story I'm interested in today is Arsenal will be willing to pay the 40 million euros asking price for Bruno Guimarães. Now, what we know and what I can confirm is that Arsenal really love Bruno Guimarães. 100% Mikel Arteta and Edu, they wanted to sign him in last summer, but the player decided to stay at Lyon. We wanted to sign him. I think he had gone for Copa America, if I was with Brazil, if I'm not forgetting and not mistaken. So he decided that he's going to stay with Lyon until the end of the season, and then he will decide his future then. Arsenal have been monitoring the situation. They know in the summer he's going to be one of those players that Lyon will be selling. Of course, we know Lyon. Every season, every summer, they look at the player and they're like, he will go. We will sell this one. This one will sell. So I think, in that squad, there's so many players they could sell. They could sell, Lucas Paqueta, but I don't see them selling Paqueta as soon as possible. I think he's only spent, this is his second season, at Lyon. Look, they can, but I don't see them selling Paqueta. Aouar, if a good deal comes in, I think Aouar will move on. And then Bruno Guimarães is another player that I expect to move on if a deal comes in. So I think this is smart business. This would be very, very smart business from Arsenal. In the summer, you need a central midfielder. How beautiful it is to get in Bruno Guimarães. Because again, for me, Bruno Guimarães, as compared to Renato, as compared to Arthur Melo, I would definitely take Bruno Guimarães over all of them. Because what Bruno has is he's a hybrid again. He's a hybrid of a number 8. He's so good in terms of defensive, his defensive game, tackling and things like that. And then he's another exceptional player going forward. He's passing his lead, he's dribbling his lead, he impacts the game very, very strongly going forward. So I'll take Bruno Guimarães 100%. But that is not a transfer we can do in January. And I think that's why Mikel Arteta is like, why don't I it's more like a gamble, right? It's more like a gamble because Renato is available and Dennis Zakaria would be available as well. You have Arthur Melo also available. But why I think it's not the worst gamble in the world, even in the summer, we shall have the same opportunity to sign Renato if no one takes him. We shall, of course, Newcastle, they're poking their noses everywhere. But if Renato is available in the summer, we'll have a chance to sign him for a cheaper price. We shall have a chance to sign Arthur Melo still. We shall have a chance to sign Frankie de Jong and a chance to sign Bruno Guimarães. So why I'm going to say it would be a good strategy is, in instead of going for a panic buy that you do not want, you just find, it's better to find in an option, just an option, because Barcelona are saying they'll be paying the wages. That's a good deal for us. No, there is no way, financially, it's a very, very good deal for us. But, Barcelona, they just need him out. As simple as that. And that's why I feel, he needs to get away from the environment, because Barcelona is, is getting toxic. But in the summer, we can get the ultimate player. We can get the ultimate target. We can get in the player who we know is much more qualified for what we need. Look, if you've looked at Bruno Guimarães and how he plays this football, I'm not going to talk about his statistics and XG per 90 and P goes per 90. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But one thing you see about Bruno Guimarães is he's a complete midfielder. An absolute complete midfielder. I think if Coutinho had been a successful player in the last 5 years, I'll try to compare Bruno Guimarães to Philippe Coutinho, because Coutinho again is that kind of player that you play as a CM in a 4-3-3, and he works out very well. And you could play him just behind the striker, and he's also going to do very well there, because we know the amount of goals they can contribute to a side. The magnitude is interesting. Big figures there as a striker, as a supposed striker. The number of chances he's capable of creating per 90. Whether he can create that at this moment or he can't, that's another question. That's another big question we would have to discuss on another day when he signs for us now. But at the moment, optimistically, yes, I'll take him. Definitely, I'll take him, because I do not want Arsenal not to get in a midfielder. But if it's Coutinho and Bruno Guimarães, lads, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And I don't understand how 40 million euros are not even changing. Leon, this must be a joke. Look, this must be a joke. 40 million euros for Bruno Guimarães. Give me two of them. Absolutely. Give me two of them. Because, look, Bruno Guimarães is a sensational, generational talent. We know that. There is no question about that. Sensational, generational talent. And I do not expect Arsenal to try to sign him in the summer without competition. I've seen PSG, of course, Verratti will be, is aging. They'll need someone in there. I won't be surprised if they try to sign Bruno Guimarães. But, I mean, clubs like Barcelona, clubs like, they should be going for him. He's so talented, and whatever he does is a success on that pitch. So, look, I will only take Philippe Coutinho if Arsenal are serious about Bruno Guimarães in the summer. He's the central midfielder I want. He's just perfect. He's just perfect. There is nothing he doesn't do. Tackling, passing, dribbling. He's absolutely lit. And the other thing I love about him is his durability, and that's why he beats Renato Sanchez. Renato, good player, inconsistent, number one, but again, he has never played even 26 league games in his career because of injuries and things like that. Bruno Guimarães is that consistent. He plays, as he plays in that area as a central midfielder. And I've already said, with central midfielders, look at Jorginho, look at N'Golo Kante, look at Kovacic. I just need them to be there. You just need them to be there. You don't want a central midfielder or a box to box who plays 5 games and disappears 5 games. You need a player who can give you 30 games in a campaign. I think Bruno Guimarães, can do that. Of course, with injury, being injury prone, I really can't blame Renato Sanchez, but we've got to think about it. You can't blame the player, because no player says I want to be injury prone or I'm going to be, or chooses to be injury prone. But again, it's another disadvantage you have in competition with other players. Yes, we missed out on Eduardo Camavinga, but Bruno Guimarães, get that one in, lads. So let me know what your thoughts are on Bruno Guimarães, lads, because I think it would be very big, very, very good business from Arsenal. Very, very good business. Very good business. Right. So and then the other is Patrick Schick. So again, linked with another striker in the names of Patrick Schick. Of course, we know what Patrick Schick has managed to do at Bayer Leverkusen. Manchester City. I've also seen Manchester City interested in getting in Patrick Schick. I don't think he's that kind of striker that I'm much interested in as a striker. I don't see him as a consistent striker. But what I can say is that ever since the Euros, he has actually not been bad. But Patrick Schick, is he? Look, let's see. Let's go for some of his statistics here. Patrick Schick playing at Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, right. Here we are. So this season, he's played 14 games in the German Bundesliga, and he has scored 16 goals. That is Patrick Schick, for you. Of course, if you look at last season, he played 29 games and he scored only 9 goals. He's still a very young player, though. In the Euros, this is what I want to talk about. In the Euros, Patrick Schick played 5 games and scored 5 because I think that is when the fame actually came up, around him and things like that. He's just 25 years of age, and Arsenal need a striker. Can we get in Patrick Schick in January? Can Leverkusen give us the player in January? It would be interesting to see. But if it's a January deal, maybe I would consider it. Patrick Schick, maybe I would consider it because again, his numbers are not disappointing, but for me, players from the German Bundesliga, I'm really, really skeptical. Really, very skeptical. But his numbers are good. This season, only played 14 games and has already scored. How many goals? Has already scored 16 goals. I mean, you would take him. You would take him because of the numbers. But look, he's not on top of my priorities. Not really. I'll take Oli Watkins over him. I'll take DCL. You know how much I do not rate DCL as a person, but I'll take DCL over Patrick Schick. I think he's in that league where he's strikers in the German Bundesliga, they do score the goals, and when they come to the Premier League, they struggle. I mean, there are not so many players from the strikers from the German Bundesliga that I can say they've really come and they've done it. There are not so many of them. Absolutely, there are not so many of them. But Patrick Schick, there, interesting story. Very, very interesting. If he bangs in 25 goals this season, Arsenal should go for him. But I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. What your verdict is on Patrick Schick. I do not know what your verdict is on Patrick Schick. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think about Patrick Schick. Okay. Let's see what you people have said in the comments below. Ignacio says a bit okay, but please get Renato, without fail as early as 1st January. Look, I think that, if we go for Filippo Coutinho, I said it yesterday that it would be very, very big, good business if Arsenal get in both Filippo Coutinho and Renato Sanchez. But I think the fact that we are interested in Bruno Guimarães, then you can't go for a player like Renato Sanchez. That means because it's either Renato or Bruno Guimarães, and in my opinion, it's Bruno Guimarães. He is the perfect player. He's the perfect player for that position. If Arsenal can, 40 million euros, that is a bargain. Get him in. Absolutely get him in. So look, if it's either Renato or Bruno Guimarães, I'm going to go for Bruno Guimarães. Can we sign Bruno in January? It's tricky. It's like 80% we can't, 10%. You never know what may happen. 10% yes. So it's the chances of us signing Bruno Guimarães in January are very, very slim. But would I definitely take him in January? Yes, I would. But look, Renato, I think what Arsenal are trying to do is they're trying not to rush. They're trying to find the perfect players in the summer, right? Because all of them, there will be very, very many opportunities. Frank Cossy will be available in the summer. Dennis Zakaria will be available. Both of them will be actually available on a free. Yves Bissouma will be left with 1 year on his contract. in the summer. So maybe what Arsenal are trying to do is bring in one player, in the short term, and then just wait. Right? How are you doing, Anu? How are you doing, Abel? How are you doing, Emmanuel? Hope you're doing well. Legacy says, will Arteta be on the touchline against Manchester City on Sunday? I confirmed that Arteta will not be on the touchline, and I think we might get to that position where Arsenal also start to ask for games to be postponed and games to be called off. Because look, at this point in time, we have already skipped a game. Wolves did ask for that game to be postponed. It wasn't Arsenal. It was Wolves, because Wolves said they didn't have they didn't have enough players to put to conduct a match day. As simple as that. That is what they said. So you can see, you can see where we are heading. So look, we already have around 5 players infected. If like 3 more players at Arsenal get affected or get infected with the virus, then it would only be logical if we call it off, if we call some of our games off, because many clubs have actually called their games off as well. Mark says, where is he gonna play? Will he play as a number 8 or as a number 10? That is what is interesting about Filippo Coutinho. Really, that is what actually is actually very interesting about Coutinho. Do you play him as an 8 or as a 10? I think, look, Arteta is a defensive manager. Look, our press is better. Okay, it's not really defensive, but he's very, very cautious about his defense. I think he's not one manager that really wants to leave to let his side open. I know that. So I don't see him play Coutinho again as an 8 in the pivot. Maybe what that may give him is the ability to play a 4-3-3. I don't see him just open up. I think it's going to be Xhaka, Lokonga, and then Coutinho predominantly coming off the bench. I won't be surprised if that happens. Coutinho predominantly coming off the bench, Xhaka, Lokonga, and then Odegaard, Smith or Martinelli, and Saka, and then up to Alexander Lacazette. It'll be interesting. Let's wait and see how we how we'll actually handle that. I think he's coming in as a backup. I don't think Mikel is all over the place, bringing him in as a starter. I think it's bringing him as a backup because he can play that 8 very well. I mean, box to box, distribute the ball, pass around, create more chances and things like that. He can do that. He can break. He can play big teams. He can break big teams. Maybe that is one thing you're looking at. But Coutinho coming in to be a direct starter, no, I don't see that. I think at the moment Mikel might not want to tamper with the starting lineup. How are you doing, Maggie? Hope you're doing well. Isaac says bring Renato and do some Vlahovic. So Vlahovic, I told you in the morning, and I'll say it again today. Poor network, really. I don't know what's really happening today because it's been disturbing, really. But I'm so sorry. Right? I'm absolutely very, very sorry. So listen, Vlahovic has said that I don't want to say you said, but DiMarzio said that Vlahovic is not interested in the project at Arsenal. He's not interested. He's not interested in joining our project. Because DiMarzio come out and say that it will depend on the magnitude and how good the project is. So Vlahovic is not inspired, is not intrigued by the project at Arsenal. Not interested at all. Issa says we want him. How are you doing, my Mayo? Max says Cossy, the players stage together with experience. Our lads may learn a lot from him. Look, they might learn a lot from him, but this is a gamble. This is a very, very, very big gamble, Mark. You're looking at a player who can turn out to be a Willian. Or you're looking at a player who can turn out to be an Alexis Sanchez. It's not a guarantee. All transfers are not a guarantee, but when you sign, a player with more loopholes, a deal with more loopholes, I mean, it makes the gamble worse, right? It makes the gamble worse. Look, I'm not saying Coutinho is not a good player. We know, right? We know that. Anyone who's seen him, at Liverpool, we know how good he is. But it's a risk. It's a big risk. Look, if you bring him in and then he picks up a 3-month injury, what do? If you bring him in and his inspiration as a player is gone, what do? There's so many, there's so many questions to it. There are very, very many questions to it. Swalib says, good evening, Cossy. Do you think the coming of Coutinho will affect ESR 10 and Martin Odegaard 8? Look, Swalib, sorry. Look, will it? No, definitely not. I think, if we're signing Coutinho from Liverpool to Arsenal, definitely yes, because that Coutinho was very, very, very good. But can his transfer now affect us? Can it affect those players? Because I think they're in more form than he is, and they are currently doing very, very better than him. So unless he comes in and he just blossoms, because again there is the possibility he comes in and blossoms. And we've seen with Mikel Arteta, if a player is doing well, he's gonna give you a starting place in the lineup. We've seen it with Martin Odegaard. He was dropped while Lacazette was doing well, playing alongside Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. When Aubameyang was dropped, Lacazette turned into a striker, and Odegaard doing well starting. ESR was dropped for Gabriel Martinelli, so and Pepe was dropped for Saka. So it's that flexible, right? It's that flexible. My network is very, very poor. I'm so sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I do not know what the problem is. Martinelli says, Cossy, Coutinho will never come to Arsenal. It would be a waste of money. Look, transfers. You look at how a transfer is you look at how a transfer is structured. This transfer is structured to be a loan deal. It is not structured to be a permanent deal. A loan deal where Barcelona are saying they'll be paying part of his wages. That is not a waste of money. Absolutely, that is not a waste of money, because it's a good deal for Arsenal. Definitely, it's a very, very good deal for Arsenal. Very good deal for Arsenal. Get that deal in. Just just get it in, and I think it just buys us time to find in players in the summer. That is the beauty about it. Is he a waste of money? It can be a waste of money if we're going to sign him on a permanent, but it's not a permanent deal. Look, so I don't see how it's a waste of money. Ignacio says, I remember he's carving free kicks while at Liverpool, cramming the goal and shooting inside. Look, Coutinho is sensational. In terms of talent, he is sensational. You can't take anything away from him as a player. We can't. Yeah, we can't take anything away, for him as a player. Colin says, man, Cossy, hear yourself. Coutinho is a flop. Coutinho at Barcelona is a flop 2.0. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He's a flop 2.0. But what my argument is, would you do Coutinho or no one else? I would do Coutinho rather than no one else. And look, think about it in this scenario. That how many good players, has Arsenal been able to afford in the past January transfer windows? How many? They're not so many, aren't they? They're not so many. And what you need is a midfielder. So look, that's the deal there to do. I've already said that deal for Felipe Coutinho shouldn't happen, and it's not a priority. But Coutinho or no one else, I'm telling you, facts 2.0, get Coutinho, right? And then find someone better in the summer. Go for Bruno Guimarães in the summer. It's that easy. For me, I'm not complicating it. I'm not complicating it. Colin says, we are offloading flops. Again, you're supporting flops. That is the problem. I'm not supporting Filippo Coutinho as a flop. What I'm saying is don't sign him on a permanent. I think I was very clear on that. At the end of the season, get him back to Barcelona. What we need at Arsenal at the moment is someone that can just give us that cushion. We need a cushion. Players are playing so many games, if you've realized. And if you watch the Manchester United Newcastle game, our players are not proof to that. Players were just limping off, like overstretching and stretching, and then they just feel like overstretched and they limp off. You need the squad depth if you're going to be competing with the rest of the teams. You need the squad depth. There is no question. We are not immune. Our players are not immune, right? And Arsenal might not have that budget that we wanted to have. We might not have that budget. Look, I said it doesn't make any sense to support a manager in the summer and then you don't support him in January. But what if the money is not there? I mean, as simple as that. What if the money is not there? What do? Do we sit back and wait until the summer and then finish 8th? Do we just give away our top 4 position? We do not. Getting Filippo Coutinho, yes, he is a flop, but if there is something little he can do, look, let me tell you something. Liverpool have James Milner. I mean, how many of you here would take James Milner? No one. Everybody said, no, Cossy, I do not take James Milner. Not at all. But they have Milner. I mean, you've got to have those kind of players. They come in, they can step in at any point in time. Keita got injured. I think Thiago is also out as well. And now they're playing Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and they're playing him regularly. You just need those kind of players. You need them. So for me, Coutinho, if it's Coutinho or no one else, yeah, definitely Filippo Coutinho, should come in. Isaac says we need Renato. Kenneth says Cossy, I would prefer Bruno because he is Kante-like. The guy is incredibly talented. Look, I think he's a hybrid. Bruno Guimarães is a hybrid. Is that kind of player that when you're in transit, when you're in position going forward, he's superb. He's really, really superb. Defensively, he's also very, very superb. So I would definitely take him. William says no work for Coutinho. Lega says we can't use Filippo Coutinho there. And then Legacy says Bruno is good. I just want to answer this. Where I picked this story from, that's what you're asking. Check out Rudy Galetti. He's an expert with Calcio Mercato. If you want that, he's also working with Sky as well. So make sure you do check him out if you want that. If you want that. This story in full detail, because it's written about it, and I think Calcio Mercato have been really, really writing about it with The Sport. Those two publications, The Sport and Calcio Mercato, ready-handedly, they've been writing this story. There's Collins. You wanted to ask, you wanted to know where we are getting the story. Someone said with Bruno, now you're talking. Max says it's better to get Bruno in January without competition for a cheaper price. I think Leon won't agree. Yeah, Lyon won't agree because at the moment, they're looking at halfway season. They're halfway the season, and maybe they could go back to Champions League. Like Lyon, do they usually sell their best players in January? They seldom do. Yeah, they seldom do. So I think Bruno Guimarães is the summer. We know it's a good deal, but it's the summer. It's not going to be. It's not going to be January. It's the summer. But I'll definitely take him. Yeah, I'll definitely take him. I'll sign him on a pre-contract, maybe something like that. Arteta missing on the bench, on the touchline is a big blow. But I hope our boys will do their best. Bruno G would be a great addition. Sakura Martin, yeah, definitely. Arsenal may go for Youssef Enesri instead of Patrick Schick. Look, I think both of them, Youssef Enesri and Patrick Schick, I'm looking at them as links, as transfer links. I think our priorities are really, really elsewhere. But anyway, look, Patrick Schick, I mean, he's had an interesting year. Right from the Euros. So, any club that will be interested, you can't blame them really. Yeah, he's had a very, very interesting year as a player. Okay, Max says, Cossy, why don't we sign Arthur Cabra on a cheap than spending a lot of money on the likes of Dusan and Isak? Look, I think the quality we want, as Arsenal in a striker, is going to come with money. It's going to come with spending. If you want a player with very good hold-up play and a player who can score for you goals, in the Premier League, you're going to look at Ollie Watkins, and and then you're going to look at DCL, Calvert-Lewin, and then maybe you're going to look at Ivan Toney. It's going to come with spending. Look, the reason as to why other clubs are far away is, and look, they also see the cheap options, but they just let them go. They get rid of the cheap options and they decide to go for the expensive players. It's not a waste of time. Definitely. It's not a waste of time. They know what they are doing and they sign in these players, and they just imagine if Chelsea won the league courtesy of Romelu Lukaku. What do you have to say about that? Look, I would pay 100 million for Lautaro Martinez because it's proven. So look, Atheka, bro, not a bad player, but if you want ultimate quality, then the cost is going to be ultimately high as well. Definitely, because again, Vlahovic, his numbers at the moment, they're undisputed. You can't you can't even complain about it. You can't take anything away from him. He's been really doing very well. Okay, Cossy, we can't wait for the summer to sign Bruno. We need a midfielder right now, and not only Coutinho to be in the top four. Look, I think if Arsenal can get in another one, on top of Coutinho, that would be a lot of ambition. They would have shown that they are ambitious, and they're not only talking to the fans about how we want to go back to the Champions League and things like that, but it would be very interesting to see how we act upon those promises. Because the Cronk is saying we want the club to go back to the Champions League and win. To do that, you've got to back that with financing, with backing them up. If we can back the team up, if they can back the team up, absolutely, absolutely. But look, if you could get in another one, if I could get in another one, I would definitely go for someone playing up top, all right? Because Eddie's going to stay though, but I would bring in someone like either Filippo Coutinho and then a player like Dejan Kulusevski. Because again, up front, we need cover. Yes, we have pro players that are really performing well, but you will need that cover. I mean, an injury could come in anytime, and I don't think we're really prepared for that. Shakira says, let's bring in Bruno and Isak or El Nasri. El Nasri has started trending. Dizan and his agents are mad. They're not mad. They're not mad, but I think they're out of their minds. How do you say Spurs have a better project than Arsenal? I mean, I was surprised. Definitely, I was surprised because again, it was again Luca Di Marzio who broke that story, and I was surprised. I was surprised they say that. Hi, Cossy. I don't really feel the Coutinho vibe. Arsenal, I'm setting my sight on Renato. Coutinho is good, but him joining could cause some struggles somehow. That's according to Fig Prince. I think it would be a backup player. But anyway, it depends on how the manager wants him to be. But I think it's going to be a backup player. Because again, when Partey comes back, Partey is going to play with Xhaka, right? I don't see, unless Mikel is ready to drop Xhaka to play Partey and Coutinho. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. But I don't think he's got he's got the courage to do that. And also, you've got to think about him. He's protecting his very young backline, and he's also protecting this young team. So whichever way sets up the team is intended to help the team as well. Okay, we need a midfielder right now. John says, but will he help us or not? I mean, when players sign, there is only one way to find out whether he can help us or not. And that way is by giving him the chance. Yeah, that is the only way we can find out whether Filippo Coutinho can help us at Arsenal or not. It's by giving him the chance. If he comes in, if you give him a chance, he comes in, he could do well. You never know. I mean, there is nothing so wrong, and I've already said this, there is nothing so wrong with Filippo Coutinho. There is nothing so wrong. It's just that he's been out of action for some time and things like that. But there's nothing so wrong, like everything is so wrong. No. Okay. What else are we saying here in the chat, lads? Someone says Arteta is going to be to do the same era like what he did with Willian from Chelsea. But I think this is going to be a loan deal. Yeah, this is going to be a loan deal. That is the only exceptional part. I don't know whether it is acceptable, because to many of you it looks like it is not acceptable. But this is going to be a loan deal. That is the difference, right? And if they decide to sign him, I think that will be a mistake then, because in the summer, what you need as Arsenal at the moment is, just Bruno Guimarães and a striker. So I don't think we should be overthinking our transfers in the summer, unless we are mad. We shouldn't be overthinking our transfers in the summer. Definitely not. I think it's just rumors. Fabrizio and Dimasio haven't reported anything. The second Ninja and Michael says, "Hi, Cossy. For me, I think we need him. Coutinho joining, we will cause lots of unhappiness to 3 young midfielders. Unhappiness, a player to learn from, and necessary competition, and squad depth, a cushion to the to the squad. What would you prefer?" Right? Look, when Ramsdale came in, there was unhappiness in the Arsenal goalkeeping department because Leno lost his spot and Arthur Okonkwo didn't replace Leno as number 1. But are we scared? Are we giving? Are we unhappy as fans? I think what you want, and this is the really dangerous mentality of football fans. What you want is your team to be doing well. What you want is your team to be. We are 6 points off Liverpool, and we played the same number of games. What we should be scared of, what we should be talking about, is how we get to Liverpool's level, not how we keep players happy. The competition is healthy. For me, the competition at Arsenal is healthy, right? I think we're used to that mentality. Players who are not good enough coming off the bench. I think that mentality should be out of the window, long gone. Good players should be coming off the bench. Just imagine if ESR is coming off the bench. You have Coutinho coming off the bench, Lokonga coming off the bench, and Leno on the bench. Those are 4 quality players. 4 quality players. You need that. You definitely need that. So look, the mentality of Coutinho coming in is going to make some players unhappy. Does it boost? I mean, just imagine if Bruno Guimarães came in, Xhaka drops. Lokonga's time at Arsenal also drops in terms of playing regularly. But do we need Bruno Guimarães? Absolutely, we do. But I mean, why don't we say let Xhaka and Lokonga stay in there? Don't sign Renato. We need to be thinking as a big club again, because that is where we are going now, right? We're going to that level where the club is now picking up. We are picking up. We're going back to that big level, and there is no way I'm going to think like a Southampton fan, because it's a Southampton fan who says, okay, we have James Ward-Prowse and he's our captain. Don't bring in someone else. You will annoy James Ward-Prowse. No, it's competition. We have a 72 million signing on the bench, right? I'll be very, very happy if a player drops to the bench because another one has actually surpassed him, rather than a player playing regularly because they're undroppable. You can't drop them. We saw it with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang this season, wasting chances, doing whatever he wants, and when he was dropped, finally, there is a difference. There is a difference in the squad. The mistreatment is another thing, but being dropped, that was a right call. Michael says thanks for the show. Thank you so much, Michael. Michael says Anu says Coutinho can be a plus to Arsenal if you're not signing any midfielder, and that is what I said. Yeah, that is what I said. And Colin says stop talking about that flop. Look, I won't comment about that. Andrew says Jonathan David and Edin Ketia and Balogun. We also need European players as a defending midfielder and one box to box and one of Awa with Lautaro Martinez. I mean, look, our problems, our needs are very, very visible. But I think those ones are in the summer. Those are transfers that are really going to happen in the summer. This January, it's going to be very few. Yeah, it's going to be very few. I don't want to put my hopes, and that's why I've already said with a striker, my hopes are very, very low in January. Just Fabrizio said that if something happens, if an opportunity manifests itself in January, we will go for it. But will an opportunity come in January? I'm quite skeptical. Let Arsenal stop exciting fans with good players in transfers, and let they sign leftovers while leaving good wins. But look, Samuel, let's genuinely and objectively talk about the last players we've signed. Odegaard is not a leftover. Odegaard is a generational talent. Ramsdale finally is becoming a serious player. Ben White is a good talent. Tomiyasu is a good talent. Nuno Tavares is a modern fullback, nice talent. Are we really signing in leftovers? I do not think so. Right? Yes, we've done that. Our transfer policy, I've always questioned our transfer policy. It was bogus. It was really, really bogus. When we signed in the likes of Granit Xhaka over N'Golo Conte, it was bogus. But I think amends are being made, and you never know. I mean, that is a whole point of improvement. You never know. Yeah, you never know. CL Chan says he played only 12 games and scored 2 goals and 2 assists. Okay. Colin says, is he going to play where Smith Rowe is not? Is going to play where Smith Rowe is not getting enough time, and you're supporting that flop. That is a weak mentality. I won't change my mind. That's a weak mentality. Look, reject Filippo Coutinho by saying he's not good enough for Arsenal standard. Do not say he's going to be playing where Smith Rowe plays, and that is a weak mentality. That's a weak mentality. I want someone to raise an issue like I've raised. I say injury prone, number one, and it might be a Willian deja vu. Those are the two. I think those 2 points are late. But we are not afraid of Coutinho hosting any player Arsenal. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. You want your team to go back to the top, but you do not want your team to sign in top players. It's crazy. Crazy. Yes, look, he's been at a flop at Barcelona. I understand. So was Alexis Sanchez. He comes in at Arsenal and he does wonders. Say about that. Look, Filippo Coutinho, if he joins Arsenal, let's give him the chance. I mean, how many people? I struggled with many people in the summer on Martin Odegaard. You remember, he's too slow, Cossy. Don't bring him in. Bring James Maddison. He keeps our game. Hold. Don't bring him in. Bring James Maddison. His numbers are not good. Don't bring him in. And finally, when he's coming, he's done well. No one says, Cossy, he scored a goal. He's too slow. No one says that. So, I mean, we could maybe give him a chance. You never know. I mean, you never know. Mai says Coutinho is a very good signing, and it will boost Arsenal performance if he comes, to Arsenal. Mohammed says, hi, Cossy. Arsenal might sign a DCM and a striker, plus a winger, Kulusevski, Pepe replacement. But I agree with Thierry Henry about signing another striker from Juve. Famous says, please, let's be careful with this Coutinho issue because that we do not have experience, so that we do not experience another Willian saga. Look, that is cautious, and I would listen to that. Yeah, I would definitely listen to that because that is cautious, right? That is really, really cautious. Right. So what are the other comments you people are posting in here? Someone says, Cossy, if Arsenal want to back in Champions League, should have good players who can change the game. It's a gradual process for me. Yeah, it's a gradual process. I won't be and look, I can't be even surprised if Arsenal finish 5th this season and then we finish in position 6 next season. It's gonna be a gradual process. It's gonna be a gradual process. A-Dash of Super says, wait for Madders and go get him in the summer. But we've already gotten Martin Odegaard. I don't think we're gonna go for Madders again. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go for Matters again. Would you rather Jonjo Shelvey than than Coutinho? Shelvey. Have I ever rated Shelvey as a person? No, I've never really I've never really rated Ginger Shelvey. I've never in my life. I've never rated Ginger Shelvey. Played is playing in the Premier League at the moment. It's quite difficult a little bit because look, Shelvey is that kind of hard player, like really hard. Coutinho is the complete opposite of Shelvey. Who would I take at the moment? I would take Filippo Coutinho. Yeah, I would take Filippo Coutinho. Shelvey, maybe not now. Maybe not now for Ginger Shelvey. Let's give Coutinho a chance. Who knows? It could work out. Philip says I would rather Ginger Shelvey. That shows you that you don't really you're not really in for Filippo Coutinho. Someone says Mohammed says if even when Fabregas went to Barcelona, he was a flop, but when he came back to Chelsea, he was back on form. I think at Barcelona, these players, because again Fabregas leaving Arsenal, he was a hero. Yeah, when they're leaving the Premier League, they're heroes for their teams. When they go to Barcelona, you're just an ordinary player, and you're playing the structure. You're playing with it. You're playing the system. I think what Coutinho would gain, from this Arsenal side is I've seen Mikel Arteta allows players to do whatever they want with the ball. It's so different from Barcelona. Barcelona, one or two players are allowed to do what they want with the ball. It's that kind of chronology passing, that chronological passing that is so impressive at the end of the day as a unit. But I think it was only Messi that used to do that, maybe in Andres Iniesta. But the rest of the players, it's the ball finding you in the right area and you doing what you're supposed to do. So Coutinho, all those constraints, maybe they really affected him. Is it confirmed? Yes, it is. It is confirmed. Mikel Arteta has given the green light for us to sign Filippo Coutinho. Because where did the news for Sterling joining Arsenal end? And Maximin says, I go with Bruno Guimarães. Okay, look. Raheem Sterling, the reports were that Mikel Arteta wants the player. And Sterling wanted to leave. But I think the fact that he started playing more regularly at Manchester City, then his need to leave the club is deteriorating. I think that is it, right? That is it. If we were in January and Raheem Sterling is not playing football at the moment, for City, chances would be high he would be leaving City to find another club. But now City, what they've done is they've let go of Ferran Torres. That means more minutes for players like Raheem Sterling, and he's been really, really doing well because I think he's played around the last 8 games in all competitions for them and scored around 5 goals or 6 goals. So he's doing well. I think, look, it was a call for more game time. There is no agreement for a new contract at the moment. Can Arsenal get him probably in the summer? It would be interesting, but at the moment, I mean, it was game time. Since he's playing more regularly, then there is nothing with there is nothing to shout about. Okay, Ahmed says, Shelvey, what are you talking about? Shelvey is not going to fit in our club. Please stop talking about Shelvey. Look, it was a comment. I was reacting to someone in the comment section who said something about Jonjo Shelvey. But look, Shelvey is playing at that level where he should be playing. I think he's comfortable, right? If I'm Jonjo Shelvey, I would never, definitely, I would never go away from I would never go away from Newcastle. Why would I? Definitely, why would I? Why would I go away from Newcastle? He's playing at that level. Look, Shelvey is not a top 4 player, not even a top 6 player. Sorry for you, Shelvey. I hope that's not disrespectful, but I don't think he's that player. Those players are in that Liverpool: Stuart Downing, Jonjo Shelvey, Charlie Adams, Andy Carroll, Divock Origi, Christian Benteke, Glenn Johnson. Look, I can name the whole Liverpool squad, during that time. They're not top four players. They're not top four players. Yeah. If you have let go, if you have let go of Joe Willock, why would I bring in Gigi Shelvey, really? Shakira says, why don't we get Mikel Oyarzabal? Don't talk about that lad. And Isaac, that combination might work for us. Look, okay, so let me speak about that, Shakira, because look, in the summer, I was really frustrated with Mikel Oyarzabal because I really love Spain and I do support them, and I thought it was our chance to get these Euros as the surprise because we really did well, and I'm so mad that we're still undermined during those Euros. But Mikel Oyarzabal, he's a talent. He is a talent. I can't take anything away from him, but at the moment, when I have Emile Smith-Rowe and Martin Odegaard, Mikel Oyarzabal could wait. Alexander Isak, 100%. Yeah, Alexander Isak, 100%. But Oyarzabal, look, if you brought him in, he's gonna be on the bench. He's gonna be on the bench. He's gonna have to fight for his number, for his place. Philip says, Saint Maxima, I would prefer than Coutinho. I would take Saint Maxima over Coutinho, depending on what we need as a club. At the moment, what Arsenal need is someone who can be as versatile to be a hybrid between those two roles, 8 and 10. Saint Maxima is not that. We are not looking for a player like Alex, Saint Maxima. We are not looking for a player like Saint Maxima. No, we are not. We are not. I think it's far away from that. And would Newcastle give you Saint Maxima in this January? They wouldn't, because look, it would be mad. They're trying to strengthen their squad. Okay, so Colin says, bro, I better Coutinho. Gone a flop, another mess, another mess, man. And Fifri says, I would rather sign Hassan Waswa than Jonjo Shelvey. That is a violation. Yeah, that's a big violation. Okay, John says, I think Pep started the season by playing Ferran Torres, thus gave Sterling big pressure. I believe he's eyeing Qatar 2022. Now Ferran is gone. There's no way whatsoever Sterling will leave City. Yeah, I mean, look, I do not understand. What I do not understand is why the contract talks are stalling. I don't understand that, right? I don't understand that. I don't get it why the contract talks are stalling between City and Sterling. But for me, it was all about game time. Yeah, it was all about game time. It's the same thing with Donny van der Beek. Donny is asking for game time. He's saying, "Give me time." The moment he starts playing and being appreciated as a Manchester United player, then it's out, right? But if he's not appreciated, then it's look, for me, for a player, there's no reason as to why you play for it. You stay at a side that does not appreciate you. There is no reason. I mean, why would I stay at a side that treats me like nonsense? I think that's what Sterling was afraid of. Was afraid of, because at the beginning of the season it was Grealish, Ferran Torres, and Gabriel Jesus. That was the front three that started the season for Manchester City. Mahrez to the bench. Phil Foden, I think, was injured. Was he injured by then? He didn't start the season quite well. And then Sterling to the bench as well. So there was that kind of fear. There's that, and of course, you remember, that this season, the spark in Manchester City is Bernardo Silva. So he's undroppable. So I mean, there was that kind of crumbling. Can they reach an agreement with Raheem Sterling? For me, absolutely, they will. They will. It's like Arsenal. If Arsenal do want to reach an agreement with Edin Ketia, we will reach an agreement with him. I think we will. It's the game time. Cossy's number one, fan says, like not in bad faith. We are now focusing on improving Arsenal. So those things of Shelvey, please. Look, we only discussed Shelvey for a moment because someone asked. Asked. It was not even a comparison. Someone asked me whether I'll take Shelvey over Philippe Coutinho. Right. So look, it's something I'm talking about. It's something I'm talking about. That Coutinho's deal might be not coming in the William Dale faith. It might be a very, very kind of faith. It might be very, very kind of environment. It might be us being being able to to plan for the future. It's so good to be prudent as well. Definitely, it's so good to be very prudent as well. I mean, you don't just bring in whatever you can. It's so good to be prudent. If Coutinho comes in, he walks out. That's a good deal. Because I mean, for Filippo Coutinho, he comes in, he walks out, he gets a club that can sign him. It's a good deal. He gets a club that can sign him. Arsenal getting someone that is of their stature in the summer. How is that a bad deal? It's not a bad deal. Someone says Cossy, for sure we need a striker. We need a striker, we need a DM, a CM in order to make it to top four. You're literally saying we're not going to make it to top four because look, January, I can stand on my 2 feet and say it's going to be 1 or 2 signings. It's going to be 1 or 2 signings. But Partey, for me, if we can get in someone who plays well alongside Thomas Partey and getting a striker, which will be in the summer, I think we shall have moved a step, a step closer. Yeah, we should have, we shall have moved a step closer. Vlahovic is a good forward. That's according to Maximin. Vlahovic is a good forward, but you can't force a player to play for you. Yeah. You can't force a player to play for you. You can't. It doesn't make sense. If he wants to play for you, bring him in. If he doesn't want to play for you, then you keep him out. As simple as that. We can swap Maximin for Nicola Pepe. Look, that would be a good deal. That would be a very, very good deal. Because again, when I look at Saint Maximin, he's a player who can come in and sit on the bench. He can be on our bench, and he can add lots of quality to our bench. If can Newcastle allow that? Because at the moment, what Ed Howe is looking at, he has around how many building pillars? Joe Willock, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, and Saint Maximin. The likes of Joe Linton, I even don't understand the point of keeping player like Joe Linton at Newcastle. But the likes of Joe Linton, these likes of Dubravka, all those players are going to leave. Actually, all their backline could leave as well. So it looks like they don't have so many quality players in that side. And look, you can't just replace all your team in January. You can't. So Maxima is a very, very important player for them. Johnson says, I think Pep started the season. Okay, we looked at that. And then Shakira says, not, but if we need a central striker, DCL is not good enough. DCL is not good enough. I do not know your reason, but I don't rate him that much. Right? I do not rate him that much. And I think the reason I don't rate DCL is because maybe I've not seen him get that campaign where he hits in 25 goals. Maybe that's the reason. Because look, if you look at his attributes as a striker, DCL is okay. Yeah, he is okay. He is okay. Hold up play is okay. His scoring rate is also not bad. He's very good in the air. He's very good at those chances that you let off on the ground. You never know. But look, we might have the same reasoning because I've not seen him score 25 goals in a campaign. But if Arsenal decided to go for DCL, then there must be something they say in him. Lads, make sure you smash a like on the video. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel. Very, very, very close to our targets. I'm really, really happy with you guys this year, and I'll speak to you tomorrow right in the morning. We'll be discussing tomorrow. We'll be discussing much about Manchester City. We'll start the Manchester City discussions because that game is also very, very close.